we have the ability to vaccinate children down to 12 now. We've just learnt that we don't even have to, they can give their own consent as well here.
The legal position's really clear in that young people have the rights to make their own decisions if deemed competent, and feels right that we need to assume competency. So that legal position is clear.
It's astonishing that a child age 12 could give consent for a fatal decision. And I think historians will look at that, and under no circumstances, we don't let a 12-year-old child decide on taking, penicillin, let alone a fatal vaccine. The FDA is telling us it's dangerous. The FDA's put out warnings, warning, Pfizer and Moderna, myocarditis.
This is a really safe vaccine, and there are very few reasons why anybody might not be able to have the vaccine, but particularly that a child might not be able to have the vaccine because they're very unlikely to be on blood thinning medication, for example. That's just one point.
I'm telling you as a parent, if you ask me, doctor, do you want to bring your child in and have a vaccine and there's a chance they can get myocarditis? No. How many cases is worrisome? One. That's it. I just need to hear that once. It's out.
So vaccine-associated myocarditis is an incidence rate of about 40 per million. So it's a bit more common compared to anaphylaxis, but still super rare.
Myocarditis, it's not rare. It's not rare. United States now, we have full-throated 4,000 cases and strong. This is heart inflammation, tends to target young people. And the CDC and FDA looked at this in June. They had a universe of 600 cases. They had 200 cases to discuss. 90% of these kids were admitted to the hospital. That's how sick they were. They had chest pain, signs and symptoms of heart failure, high troponin, which is a test for cardiac injury, EKG changes. They had early signs of heart failure on echocardiogram in about a quarter. They required hospitalization monitoring. And I can tell you when the heart pumping function is down, by our guidelines, they have to be on heart failure medicines. I've seen these kids. Now they're in follow-up. We can't seem to get the troponins down. We are using heart failure drugs. Their lives as students are wrecked.
The thing is a fully protected population is how we're going to get to where we want to be, which is being able to live our fullest lives, essentially, in the context of a pandemic. So, young people, they should get vaccinated to protect themselves, and by each of us vaccinating ourselves, that's how we can provide the best protection to those people that we know who are at greater risk of really poor health outcomes if they get COVID-19. We're in this team of 5 million, and this is a team sport, vaccination. That's something that young people will really understand about being part of a team and about what they can do, and that every person in that team is really important in doing their bit. So I guess I would just suggest to talk with these young people about sure, yes, it protects them, but it's also their role in this other, greater movement. And that's how we're going to have 660 back playing again. And that's how we're going to have the All Blacks, playing in our own backyards.
We never give vaccines to young people to protect older people. And I think that's what the dynamic is. The dynamic is, let's put the risk on the children to somehow protect the adults. It's fundamentally wrong. It's immoral. It's unethical. It's illegal from a civil perspective, and children will be injured.
I love that. We all do want to live our best lives. That's really good. Thanks, Juliet.
Under no circumstances should anyone under 30 consider the COVID-19 vaccine. It's just not safe for young people. COVID-19 is mild. When there are severe symptoms, it's easily treatable. One would never ask a young person to take on the risk.
Healthy children do not die from COVID. In fact, the Lancet did a study where the Lancet could not find any healthy child anywhere in the globe that has died from COVID. I would say this, that it is criminal to give this to healthy children. Criminal.
Someone out there wants to know, what is informed consent for, say someone who is 12. I mean, how does informed consent work there?
Actually, I was just listening to some experts on that today, because actually young people can actually make their own decision on this if they choose to, and if they want to go to a vaccine centre, the vaccinator can assess that they are quite capable of understanding the information and everything, and they can actually give themselves informed consent, if you like.
But the fundamental thing is that 12 to 15-year-olds can give consent or refuse consent a treatment if, assuming competency.
Under no circumstances should a 12-year-old child be approached about taking an investigational vaccine and potentially making a fatal decision. That child cannot compute all of those risks.